Okay, so this question is a bit of a monster of a question, all right? It's got the normal sort of tax, income tax style question here. They put the tax rates in the table, you notice, okay? So we'll talk about that in a minute. Then they've got something up here, which is national insurance, okay? Now, we also pay national insurance. Very rarely is there an exam question on it, but if it does come up, I'll show you how to deal with it. Okay, and then of course pension contributions as well, right? So there's lots of things that we pay out of our salary before it reaches our bank account. Okay, so let's just work through this step by step now, so we can work out the answer to the question. But the first thing I'm going to highlight here is Yestin. Okay, it says about him he's chief executive at Port Talbot Steelworks, and his gross salary, okay, is 88,240. Now, when you see that word gross, right, gross, you often see it mentioned in the news when it talks about jobs and so on. Gross means your salary before any deductions, okay? So in other words, that's what the company pays you before tax gets taken out, and in this case, national insurance as well, pensions and so on, right? So that's his overall, that's what the company's paying before the deductions. So it says then on the next page, using the information, calculate Yestin's weekly net salary. So we need to work out what his salary is per week, okay? And it says net. The word net just means what will he get after all the deductions, okay? What is his net salary? What is he actually getting in his bank account after the deductions? That's what we're going to do. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to do this bit later on, okay? I'm going to work out the income tax first, because that's the question we usually get asked, and then I'll approach this, right? I'll show you how we can go about answering that. So if we look at the income tax thresholds that it says then, rates, okay? I mean, quite simply, if you look there, threshold, again, right? Threshold is talking about what you don't get taxed on, okay? Everything underneath that threshold, you don't get taxed on. So when it says 11,000 per year, what it's saying is everything from 0, okay, up to 11,000, okay, is 0% tax, okay, so no tax. That's what it means by the threshold. It's like your personal allowance. Then you've got the basic tax rate, which is 20%, okay, 20%. So that's the tax rate there on annual earnings above income tax threshold, okay, so notice that it is 20%, okay, above the income tax threshold. And remember, the income tax threshold was 11,000, okay, so it'll be 20%, and then of course up to 43,000. So everything from 11,000 up to 43,000 will be taxed at 20%, okay. And then there's a higher rate then, okay, 40% on annual earnings from £43,000 on one, right, which is essentially from there, okay, up to 150,000. Now, is that going to include him? I think it is, isn't it? Because his salary, remember, is 88,240. So that's what that's going to go up to. He's not going to go up to 150,000. He's not going to be taxed up to that because he doesn't get that. He'll just be taxed up to his final income. So that'll be 40% tax. Okay, there. And then we notice then there's an additional rate. Okay, but this doesn't apply to him, right? And we'll have that in questions. We'll have questions where information you won't need to use. Okay, we only extract what we actually need. But there you'll notice because it was earnings above 150,000, we don't need that 45% there. So let's work out what his tax is going to be then. Okay, so no tax here. So let's focus then on what the 20% tax value is going to be. Okay, so everything from here to here. So let's work out what that gap is. 43,000, take away 11,000. Okay, so if I work that out, we use a calculator to check, 32,000 I think it comes to. And he's going to be taxed at 20% of it. So 20% of 32,000, of course, is 0.2. So 20% is times is what of is. So get my calculator, and it comes out to be 6,400. Okay, so that's pounds. All right, that will be the tax rate for that income value there. Okay, of course he earns more than this, so he's going to be taxed at that higher rate as well. So let's work out what the higher rate tax is going to be. Okay, so we've got 40% of this gap here, so let's work that out. 88,240, take away 43,000. So if I do that on my calculator, it comes out as 45,240. Okay, so we're going to work out 40% of that. So 0.4 times 45,240. And that comes out to be 18,096. Okay. Now, of course, then the total income tax then will be those two added together. So we just got to add them together, and we get the total tax. I say tax, I should have written income there as well, right? So 6,400 plus then 18,096. Okay, so if I do that, comes to 24,496. Okay, so I've answered that part of the question. I've dealt with this table here. Now we'll deal with the national insurance. Okay, and national insurance, it's not that difficult if you approach it the right way. So it says if you earn more than £155 a week and up to £827 a week, you pay 12% of the amount you earn between these two values. Okay, so those two values are important. Okay, now let's just check if he does earn that amount per week. I mean, 88,240, wasn't it? Was his gross salary. So if I divide that by 52, because it's 52 weeks in a year, his weekly pay then comes out to be that, doesn't it? 1696. Okay, 1,696. So he actually earns a weekly pay before tax, of course, and everything, of 1,696. So he earns more than this, doesn't he? And up to 827. He's certainly in that range there. And of course, he's going to go into the second bullet point as well, okay? Because he actually earns more than that as well. So you can see here in the second bullet point, we've also got to pay something else. Anyway, we're confident he earns a lot of money each week, so we're going to apply this bullet point here. And it says, if you earn more than £155 a week and up to £827, you pay 12% of the amount you earn between 155 and 827. So let's look at, if I put NI here, national insurance, let's look at what that gap is. 827 take away 155. 827 take away 155. So if I do that, that would be £672. Now, he's got to pay 12% on everything between those two amounts. Okay, so I worked out between those two amounts is £672, and he's got to work out 12% of it.